Do the intro.
Do the
These Warriors are terrible intro. I don't know what it is.
Hello, and welcome to These Warriors Are Terrible. Tonight, and I don't know how the rest of it goes.
None of us do. We didn't do the intro. Okay, so we are part of the These Warriors Are Terrible podcast, which is an RPG podcast where for about 4 episodes, which go across now 4 weeks out of the month, which is the entirety of the month, we play through a random RPG system and we create a plot and we go through it. And tonight we're going to answer either your questions about us or if you have any pen and paper RPG questions, we're more than happy to answer them.
Or we're just going to talk about the show.
Or we'll just talk about the show. We do have an unaired episode that's going to be airing not this Monday, but next Monday after it gets edited. And
can you not talk about it?
If you want to talk about that too.
I'll talk about something.
And there's one other thing that I actually want to do. Well, the other three people at the table with me are going to be 3 out of the 5 members of an upcoming Terrible Warriors game, which is called Power Rangers Night Watch. And having talked with Big Mike earlier, I may prompt them to do some character creation questions. Tonight, on the spot, without their sheets in front of them, without the rule book in front of them.
You love their enthusiasm about this, don't you?
Yes.
I'm enthused. I haven't done either.
I guess we should introduce ourselves.
I'm Big Mike of the 404s. I'm also the guy who... Oh, I don't need it.
He really doesn't.
I needed
Tiny
this.
room.
Yeah, I needed this.
I freaking yell at you because my voice is going.
I can yell at Enemy North. I can do this, no problem. I'm Big Mike from the 404s. I'm the guy who runs D20 Live, if you've ever been to Com Bravo and seen it. Com Bravo staff, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
And as well, I am one of the co-founders, I guess I'm called the resident GM of These Warriors Are Terrible. I don't know what that means. I think it's just an empty platitude to make me sated.
You ran at least 4 games so far.
The question is, are you sated?
Not really, no.
More than me.
They didn't bring me enough women.
I tried.
I didn't see you, Liz.
What about Denizen GM?
Wait for the Scion game.
Oh dear. I'm Derek the Bard from Chasing the Muse. I do a little review show online. I'm with This Week in Geek, and that's how I got into These Warriors Are Terrible. I've now played in, 4 games?
Yeah, about that.
4 games, and I played in Pendragon, Ghostbusters, Video Game Expendables 2, and the upcoming Spirit of the Century, which we will talk about today, and I GM Survivor the Whole.
You're also a Pathfinder.
Oh yeah, I was in Pathfinder where I played Galvan Goodbarrow, the greatest halfling sorcerer ever!
That's the game that I played Batman.
Thank you for being a fan and being here, because we're going to forget the stuff we've done at midnight tonight.
I'm Tom. He's Evil Genius White, and I'm recovering from a cold. That's why my voice is all stretchy. What's that?
Nothing.
Okay.
If you want to rock it.
I've got.
He has like a billion rockets.
Rockets. These are my rockets.
We're stalling.
I do a show called Weird Video Games on Channel Awesome, and I also do 5 minutes of every game and a bunch of other crap.
Good summary.
Yeah, I've been in the games Judge Dredd. Thank you.
I'll take one.
Derek will take one.
I'll take one.
I was in Judge Dredd, Shadowrun, Pendragon, Pathfinder, Spirit of the Century, Home. Yeah. Human Occupied Landfill. So, 6 games.
Yeah.
And you're going to be running Wild Talents.
Yes.
What shoot?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Colin Macbeth, better known to the fan community as Dr. Holocaust. I have been in 4 games.
Yeah.
I started off with Pendragon.
No, you start, yeah.
Then we did Pathfinder,
Transformers.
and Transformers, and Hold,
And Spirit of the
then
Century.
now it's Spirit of the Century. So 5 games. Got to fly by.
Yeah.
And it's tremendous fun. God. Well, I think easily though Spirit of the Century is by far and away like my favorite game so far. Because I got to play a mad scientist, and I don't know, I might do that sometimes. I might have something to drop on.
I don't know, man. You were pretty awesome in Whole.
Hashtag way out of context.
Oh, we were all awesome in Hawaii.
Okay, let's open it up to the floor first, because we just start going off about the stuff we've done, and some of the people might not get it. So you guys have questions? Go ahead!
Just wondering if there are any kind of plans, or if you ever kind of run any of the White Wolf games?
Yeah.
Wolf made any
I've been trying to run. I'll spoil this now. I was trying to run this for a while since the show first got started, but we didn't have enough female cast members at the time. I'm going to be running. I finally got all 4 of the girls that we have together. I'm going to be running the girls only, except for myself, of course. No one make that joke.
It's a girls only game.
Of Game of Scion.
We're the biggest manliest man you can find.
Contrast
I've pitched a Mage the Awakening game to the group, but I want to get the Power Rangers game and a Return to the Whole out of the way first.
See, I want to play a game of Mage the Awakening because I really enjoy the system. I think that it works as a tabletop thing because I've tried it as a LARP and it's nice, but it's like it doesn't LARP doesn't really lend itself to it. I feel though if I'm playing Mage, I want to do like long term. Like I want to play more than 4 sessions.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens there. I mean, give it time. Mike, should I just put this in between the two of us? I'll just stop towards it. All right.
It's kind of funny because it's weird to see just as time passes on the podcast what people grow to prefer. And it's interesting because we don't do debriefs. What would happen was we do 4 episodes, and then we would have debrief episodes. We're not doing that anymore because the schedule allows for a lot easier when it's just 4 episodes. It was kind of interesting in the debriefs to see people's opinions change of RPGs as the more we did. But yeah, any other questions? Anything, seriously, anything pen and paper related.
Chris.
Because unfortunately, I haven't watched most of what you guys have done tabletop-wise, but I have played some tabletop stuff. Favorite/weirdest class you've played?
I'll go last.
I like where that's going.
Let's see here.
On the show or just in general?
Whichever.
Yeah, geez, that's hard.
On the show, craziest class or type of character? Well, to be fair, in the Ghostbusters game, I did play a used furniture salesman. But, no, I'm just going to have to go back to Pathfinder. I played a halfling sorcerer who rode around on a giant corgi.
What do you call it?
I called it Corgus Maximus, and he's a good puppy, and you will not lay a finger upon him.
I didn't.
No one did. They were afraid of my acid.
No, we just didn't care.
No, we're afraid that you were on
Chicken didn't make it out of that campaign.
Tom. When I was on the subway the other day, all I heard from someone as I was walking past, and then he killed her chicken. And the immediate thought that popped in my head was, poor Reginald.
You might want to explain that story for people who haven't listened.
Okay, so we're playing Pathfinder, and Tom's character has a pet chicken that follows him around like a dog.
Yeah, see, in the Pathfinder rules, it has all kinds of things that you can buy, and I saw that you could buy a live chicken. And so I spoke to our GM, Mike Dodd. I said, I want my character to have a chicken as a pet, and he'll walk him around on a leash.
And so we get into this fight.
Kill your own chicken by accident.
No. And so we've all got magic weapons at the start of this game, and Justin Eacock got a magic flaming sword. And so we're fighting an assassin at the top of this inn. Well, Tom's like, yeah, I went outside and started walking my chicken. And Justin fumbles with the flaming sword.
Right out the window.
But he does it as he's charging towards the window.
And he activated the one day only.
So it goes through the window, and Mike looks around and he's like, you know what? Let's make a roll to see if it hits the chicken.
I was just hauling the back, I was like, please let it hit the chicken, please let it hit the chicken.
And he rolls, and it was the exact number that Mike was calling. And just out of nowhere, Tom's walking his chicken, flaming sword falls to the sky, hits the chicken, barbecues it, and then we roll damage. And he's like, yeah, it's cooked perfect.
Well, the best part of that was Justin got the idea in his head, because if you know Pathfinder at all, clerics have to wield their holy symbols in some form or another. He had tied it to his sword. And we all knew he was a paladin of this particular church. So all you see is the sword fly out of the air, nail Reginald Ceremass cooking perfectly, and dangling from there is Justin's paladin symbol, just as his signature on his work. Just going back and forth and back and forth. We're all just kind of howling about it.
This dinner was cooked in the name of God.
We asked him if we could have a meal, but he was really upset.
Thus launched my character's murderous rampage. His
you
name
actually-
was Reginald.
Did you actually succeed in murdering anyone in that game?
Quite a few people, but not the assassin that we were going after.
Yeah, you
No one you were
so much
after.
fun.
The assassin. We freaked
I
Mike
used
Dodd out.
almost every item.
He's so
in the
capable of
item list.
doing that. He cheated.
Mike Dodd had created this assassin who was he was supposed to kill the Elven ambassador and then escape, and that was supposed to be part of the part of the mystery.
It's supposed to be part of the driving plot, but as everybody gets into the inn that this Elven ambassador is staying in and everything, my character, a rogue, decides that he is going to go on an ambassador's panty raid. And so I'm sneaking up to the ambassador's room with like an insanely high stealth check, and I peek around and it's like, oh crap, there's an assassin. And I was like, well, just turn this around and, kick open the door. And I found it used for like a million different things. I was using thunderstones, caltrops, oils, and stuff like that. Like I was just Batman
He was
on the
Batman.
spot. And this guy's like running around, and he's like, yeah, he's coming down the hallway at you. I'm like, okay, so I throw a fishing net at him. And Mike Dodd's just like, are you serious? Where did you have that? And I'm like, no, I bought it. I gave you my list of items at the beginning. Like, it's just like this telephone book of things that I bought that are like a few silver a piece. So I'm like, yeah, so I'm just throwing all this crap at him. He's like, oh, okay, shit.
He didn't expect that we were gonna go in and go balls to the wall against this NPC, but we're like, fuck it, man. This is the first fight we've got in this game.
No
we're
one
not
expects
running.
the panty raid.
It's D&D. We're not running away till he's dead.
Meanwhile, the bard was in the lower part of the bar playing Tenacious D for everybody.
Yeah.
Anyway, what was the question again?
Favorite/weirdest class.
Okay, favorite class out of game is the Pathfinder Ninja because it's a stabbing death machine. I would use the hell out of that. Just look it up, you'll see it. Favorite character I've ever played on the podcast was my Shadowrun character, which was a government black bag agent in Shadowrun. And he basically was just very well dressed, but loaded to the teeth with all these implants to kill people. And at one point we had to interrogate someone, and everyone got really horrified where it's decided that a vinegar bath was a good way to interrogate someone who was in a car crash. Weirdest has to be Hole. Do not bring landfill because I just played a clone of a Saints Row character. There you go. Anyone else? Or move on to the next question.
Oh yeah. Okay. Weirdest character out of this. I played in a Changeling the Lost LARP. With a friend of mine named Erica, and we decided that we were going to come in as a pair of courtless Blightbent elementals. Blightbent elementals are essentially elemental fae of pollution. And so we were elementals of cigarette smoke and cheap whiskey. And we were playing a pair of 1950s style private detectives who were horrible at their job and spent more time arguing over the name of their detective agency than solving crime. And there was a moment where we walked up to somebody, he's the king of summer, he's great, he's powerful, and he shakes our hand, and we both hand him our business cards, and we argued for 3 minutes straight in front of him just over what the name of our business was, and almost came to blows, and he was too polite to do anything about it. In the end of the game, when the game ended, our characters were retired to the greatest paradise on earth that they could imagine, which was Newark, New Jersey.
I don't know about weirdest class, but I always like to play classes in unusual ways. In recent memory, I created a character who was a bard/fighter, and he was only a level 1 bard, but he would.
So how the hell did you multi-class at level 1?
What's that?
How did you multi-class at level 1?
We didn't start at level 1.
Oh, okay.
He was just level 1 bard.
Oh, okay.
So he carried himself and acted as a bard, but was secretly a really good fighter. And I ended up like all these skill points put in bluff.
Yeah.
And I would basically try to downplay the fact that I knew how to take care of myself. And so it'd be like I'd go around and I'd play the lute, and I wasn't particularly good at any of my bardic abilities. And I'd joined this team. The other players had no idea who I was. They just thought I was a bard. And so I'd try to cast spells and whatnot, and I'd always suck at them. It's like, why do we have this guy in the team? And then, when we get ambushed by kobolds, I whip out a scimitar, I slice them to pieces. We're like, whoa, how'd the bard do that?
Bards are awesome.
Yes, they are.
So, any other questions? Go ahead.
I just recently got into tabletop RPG.
Congratulations, welcome to our world.
One of us.
Actually, my entire group they're terrible. But anyway, they're so bad. They're so bad. But we've been
I can
doing.
beat you, I really can. You should see what my guys do for fun.
We just got into Pathfinder, and I want to try doing something else because that's like all we have.
Yeah.
So, like, what would you recommend getting into?
That depends entirely on what kind of an experience you want. I know it's going to be a open-ended kind of question on that one. If you want a more, acting, are you guys looking for more combat, more stringent rules?
Probably, considering how often we go off and do stupid shit, probably more like story.
More story? Probably something from White Wolf, I would say. Okay. I'm going to try on that one.
There are several systems you can
Well,
actually.
why don't we ask her what genre she wants?
What genre do you want?
Fantasy,
Like,
sci-fi.
do you want anime? Do you want like horror or like old-fashioned mythology?
Preferably like fantasy or maybe modern, I don't care.
If you're looking for modern, I'd actually look for an old system called Over the Edge.
We gotta be able to find it first.
You'll find it. Got a reprint.
Okay.
You can also look for it on Drive-Thru RPG. They have everything. Over the Edge is set on an island where everyone is a spy. They're a spy for everything, and it's based around a more descriptive system, a system where it's a little bit freer in how you build your character. I look into something like that. Unknown Armies is a wonderful modern occult and horror-based game, all about essentially wars between secret societies. If you're looking for fantasy that's more story-driven, actually a couple years back, Green Ronin produced a game called Blue Rose. I say that I don't just pimp it because one of my friends is one of the artists on it, and his art's awesome, Leo Lingus. Check him out. But because it's a very interestingly built society, and it shows that you can use D20 and kind of the D&D system to create a story-driven, courtly intrigue, social mystery RPG, rather than just a hack and slash.
The ones I generally recommend, it depends entirely on what kind of thing you feel you're going for. A lot of people I see like to really go for the Dresden Files RPG because everyone likes the Dresden Files.
Ooh, that sounds like fun.
Yeah. The other one, which is the one I use a lot for rookies and people who are kind of learning and stuff like that, I picked the Scion RPG, where basically it's
What's
set
that? Sorry?
for rookies. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. You get to create your own relics and you basically play the child Scion.
So,
You play the child of a god, and is in like Zeus or Odin or something like that. And the rules are, I will admit, a bit of a pain in the ass sometimes. But the fun thing is you get to go in and say, I want to make something from Thor's hammer. I want a gun with Thor's hammer as the hammer of the thing. Or, I'm the son of Baron Samedi. I have some of his face paint, and that does something.
Baron Sandy.
Sandy?
Sandy, yeah.
Son Samedi?
It's French.
Alright, okay. I'm Italian, why do I know
How do
that?
you spell Scion? Because there's a couple different.
SCION.
Okay. That's versus PSION.
Yeah. Now, if you want to talk about scions, White
That's
Wolf.
why I wanted to add the clarification.
White Wolf did an awesome science fiction RPG called Trinity. And Trinity is set in 2130. And essentially, superhuman entities showed up on Earth in around the year 2000. And they eventually went insane and almost wrecked the planet. 50 years later, Earth now has psychics who are protecting it. And the monsters are coming back. And there is a lot of politics involved between the organizations that control these scions with a P.
I love that we have that kind of distinction problem.
And between world governments. And it's a really amazingly defined world with a lot of secrets and a lot of conspiracies going around and a lot of things to discover. And honestly, I could just go on and on about RPGs that you could look into. But I will finish with I will give one final suggestion because it came up this morning. Look for a game called Monsters and Other Childish Things. Monsters and Other Childish Things is essentially Pokemon in high school.
that sounds awesome.
Except instead of going out and finding Pokemon, you one day, for some reason, found a monster. Your monster is probably some kind of Lovecraftian horror.
So it's Lovecraft you.
No, I'm just, that's the game.
It is always Lovecraft.
It's always Lovecraft. I'm trying to make this up.
It's the hat.
Derek, you want to go down the list on this one?
Okay, just because I played HP Lovecraft in the Spirit of the Century
You're
game.
running a Power Rangers RPG that's going to have a Lovecraft theme.
Yeah.
We can keep going.
And the Lovecraftian monsters and
Do it.
childish things. The Lovecraftian guy that when we were playing Spirit of the Century.
We love you. This is why we do it.
This is
We love what you craft.
They're having an intervention for me.
We're getting you off the HP. Any other questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Seems like everybody else up there, like Tom included, has plans for running a session. Connell, do you have any plans? To
Wow,
run
I
a
actually
session?
like to see that.
what?
Connell, would you like to run an RPG?
Yeah, I could try that. No, I ran. Here's the thing. When I'm talking about like systems that new players can get into, I go for D&D 4th edition.
No.
And everybody's like, oh, it's so terrible. Oh my god, it's like D&D in a book or Warcraft in a book or some crap like that. But here's the thing. It plays really simple. It is the Duplo blocks of D&D. You literally just pick it up. It takes you like maybe 30 minutes to skim over the rules, and you know how to play your characters. All of your characters come with like preset things for every class, so it's like you can pick the little abilities. The little abilities tell you exactly what each little ability do. So it's not all confusing. All your stats grow automatically. You don't have to pick where your points are going to go. There's a really minimal amount of customization that comes with your characters, but I've had 2 4th edition games that I played. And it really is in the person who's running the game as to whether or not you're going to have a good time. Because you can play a very generic character and still have a lot of fun as if you played like a really custom fancy character. I ran a 4th ed game. Just did one mod fighting some goblins and had an absolute blast. And the people that were playing were people that had never played tabletop games before.
Can you also play a fantasy robot?
Yeah, you can. Whatever.
Okay, screw it. Connell, I'm in. I want to play a robot.
Yeah.
Let's go to the psychic crystal.
More questions? Go ahead.
I'm just wondering because my friend Tom Savage got me into Legend of the Five Rings. I'm wondering if any of you have played that.
Oh,
Yes.
Savage.
I like it.
I got into it through the very limited run book series that was based on the Clan Wars of Elvar. To explain to everyone else, L5R is basically where you play a feudal samurai warrior, and they did. It's actually based off of their card game that that AEG runs originally. But
I'm down.
Okay, sure.
well, let me finish. The idea is that there's 8 clans, and they're always at conflict with each other, despite the fact that they're all technically allies. And the entire thing of Rokugan is very much being this honorable warrior, as in, I let my liege lord die. Let's eat a katana. And that is entirely the setup, which would be interesting taking us through it because we're all psychos. But
I want to see us redux our Pendragon characters in Legend of the Five Rings.
Oh my god, no. As much as I want to play,
I would totally be in on that.
Grafton escape from Frabble.
Francis St. Rumper Frabble.
Oh.
Yes, and then, Saunter Black at Hampton-Frankfurtshire was his horse.
Why are you looking at me when you say that, sir?
He wants to know if you're still mad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would love to play a round of L5R with you guys anytime.
Oh. The words that set the tone for the rest of the
my freaking RPG career.
Can my horse have a mustache?
I can honestly say this without fear of contradiction from anyone at this table. Spirit of the Century is funnier than Pendragon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, as
Take
good
that grade, please.
No.
And all 3 of them agreed.
No, absolutely. Here's the thing. Like, the horse with the mustache was a bell that I kept bringing, and it was super fun, and we just kept coming back to me being a ridiculous handsome guy. But just, oh my god, Spirit of the Century. Okay, here's the thing. Here's why you need to listen to Spirits of the Century. I'm gonna drop that one here. You're gonna like this.
Okay.
This story contains the fastest mobile transforming sex dungeon that has ever and will ever be conceived by man.
Sold!
And the clean couch.
Shut up.
I will go listen to that in the next.
Don't discuss the thing catch.
Just one person figures it out. Yeah, listen to the podcasts I normally GM. They're usually fairly moderate and trying to go heavier on the adventure side. When I was looking at Spirit of the Century, I was just flipping through the book and everything just seemed so very silly. And I realized who I was getting. I got these guys as well as I got Cassie.
I should say that Spirit of the Century, if we haven't mentioned it, is a pulp novel RPG.
Well, yeah. It's all very pulp-based.
So like 1920s League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
And I was bored of my road trips to and from work. I was always writing in jokes. I'm like, I can't use this, let's write it. And I had this long list of jokes that went about 2 pages. I said, let's put this together and see if we can make a plot out of it. And by God, I did. And it's the greatest thing I've ever created.
Oh, so good.
And we will air a bit of the first episode for you guys if you like.
It was some of the most fun. Did you see Justin's comment recently?
Justin can shut up.
Can Derek ever play a character who doesn't scream at the top of his lungs? The answer is probably yes, but I'm not sure I'd want to.
No.
Where's the fun in that?
Exactly. Justin can shut up.
Always loud.
Yes.
Go loud.
Go loud or go home.
Any other questions?
Ben.
Well, across each of the characters that you've all played, what is each one of your own proudest moments with whatever character you've had the proudest moment with?
Oh my God.
I have to think about this.
Oh, right. Are you counting like GM characters or player characters?
Anything.
Oh, thank you. Let's make it harder. Okay.
That's always the point.
You know what? Screw it. I'm going to spoil this one. It's from Spirit of the Century. In Spirit of the Century, there's a man who runs the train that Connell was describing. He is its owner, its lord, and its master. He is my favorite character because he's something I created back in 2008. And I've always tried to put him into something, and I finally found something for him to get a good debut in. And he's just so wonderful. I don't want to spoil him. Because he's a psycho. I don't fuck anything.
Favorite character moment? Oh God, yeah.
Then move on to somebody else until you
Okay.
can make something.
Tom, go.
Thinking.
I've got a lot of really good moments that I had from Spirit of the Century, but I'm not going to ruin those because I want you guys to listen to them. They are just a mile a minute, every one of them. It's really hard to pick because Graham can sing Run for Forever with his horse with a mustache and it was just too much fun. But my Pathfinder rogue was pretty cool. The Transformers thing was pretty cool. I think playing Hole. When I got to play, I basically played a serial killer named Jack Butcher, or Butcher Jack, and it was just like go around. And it's, at one point, we're all standing on this like platform that's hovering above a thing, and we're like, well, someone's got to get kicked off into the hole now because that's what we're gonna do for elimination. And we're all standing around trying to pick who's, and everybody's like arguing and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, so I'm just gonna sneak over to the person who's standing closest to the edge. They're like, okay, yeah, it's this guy named like Dave or something. They go,
no, it's
okay.
John Staverton.
John Staverton. So I roll high enough to like get right up next to him, and I'm just like, I'm gonna kill you. And everybody was like, what happened? I'm like, oh shit, yeah.
Dr. Tran his ass.
Well, I guess elimination's over.
I think actually one of my favorite moments was running Hole, and it wasn't anything that I did. It was the whole concept of Hole is it's survival.
The whole concept.
And they have been dumped onto Hole. The human occupied landfill is the garbage dump of the universe. So this whole sci-fi setting.
It's the trash planet from Transformers.
Yeah, and I've given them this whole bunch of Gomer NPCs, and one of them was named Shooty McWilliams. And Shooty McWilliams has a stat that says fashion a gun from anything. And so they're in a garbage, in the back of a garbage truck being driven to an elimination challenge, and they notice that Shooty McWilliams has managed to make himself a zip gun.
No, that's not the reason why that started. The reason why that started was because they started to play music and Connell lost his shit.
Yeah, no,
and so they're playing elevator music in the back of this truck when we're on our way to our thing, and I was like, oh damn, elevator music, and I just roll on the table at random, and then Derek's like, what are you doing? I'm like, ah, dang, I didn't make the roll. I was like, what roll? I stabbed a bitch.
But
who's sitting in front of me? Oh, this guy. I stabbed that guy.
It's Junior Glee supposed to sit together, and the player's gone. Sit down, he's covered in this guy's blood.
One of the players, I think it was Utah, got so offended that this guy had a gun. And I'm like, Tom, you realize this guy's gun is a piece of shit. He literally made it from rubber bands and springs. Tom's like, I don't care. I want to steal it. Yeah.
Actually, the thing is, I wasn't upset. See, my character, his name is Zorba. He's a very large, well-built, ugly person who believes he's actually an alien. He never met his actual parents. He grew up on the streets. And he's kind of one of those crazy guys who just, nothing phases him. He's like very laid back, but he just kind of, like he acts like he's seen it all and nothing terrifies him. And there's this big confrontation. He goes up and stabs a guy for no reason.
No reason.
Guy's like,
they're like celebrating music playing.
Okay.
That's a good reason.
For us at that time, that was all the reason we needed to murder anybody.
And the guy's got the zip gun, and he's like, I think his hand was probably even shaking.
Oh,
as he was
yeah.
pointing it. And I find his gun fascinating, and I just walk up and I take it out of his hand and start looking at it. While he's lying there bleeding on the floor in the middle of this fight, and I just look it over him and say, like, what sort of gun is this? Is this a good gun? You know, Derek as the GM is telling me, yeah, it's something he made himself. It's probably not better than the gun that you already have. Like, okay, and I just put it back in the guy's chest and then fold his arms over it and leave him to die and then just walk away.
We're so wholesome.
But
actually, Big Mike's character and my character had a bit of a moment there because he kind of walks around constantly telling people that he's an alien and he has like some kind of alien device or something like that, but nobody buys it. And it's kind of like, have you ever seen Frozen? It's that moment when Olaf is singing about summer and we're just like, I'm going to tell him. It's like, don't you dare. Don't tell him he's not an alien. This is too much fun.
There's the heartbreaking moment at the very end where they're confronting the producer of Survivor. And he looks at me like, you know you're not an alien, right? You're just crazy. And
then we all leave the room.
I
was already tumbling up through his bed to stab him.
He gave me this crazy gun that has like a million settings on it. I don't even know what the hell
it was. The gun from Fifth Element.
Oh.
Okay. And I noticed there was just a big red button on it. I'm like, I don't know what this button does, but this guy pissed me off. I press the button and I just give it to him and walk away and it explodes.
So any other questions? Even RPG questions? Yes.
What was your favorite game that you did not participate in?
Oh, I know that one. Paranoia. I listened to that one. I'm like, that sounds amazing.
Really, Expendables?
Yeah, I like video game characters. Wish I could have played on this.
There is one for me. It has, although they haven't reported yet. They're going to be doing. Should I spoil it? Yes, who cares? Doc gets mad enough. Just take him out. They're going to be doing a Neon Genesis Evangelion one.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and I almost didn't get in on it in time when everyone else was trying to sign up for it because of the fact that I'm not a big Neon Genesis Evangelion fan. And then I came up with a character literally just after the last person had said yes. And I wanted to run in as... Is anyone familiar with Giant Robot series at all? Is anyone familiar with Gurren Lagann?
Yeah.
Oh god.
I was going to play a guy who's a schizophrenic. Half the time he was going to be catatonically afraid until he got so scared that he turned into Kamina. And on the other hand, I'm kind of glad I didn't because that just would have overpowered the entire process. He would have been picking up his allies and be like, Fusion of Soul Brothers, attack. It's really bad.
Transformers. Because the Transformers game went sort of like this. I found out the Transformers game was going on, and it wasn't in time for me to book the day off work.
Yeah.
And that was the only reason I wasn't in that game. It was too. By the time I found out it was going on, it was too late for me to book that Saturday off. And I listened to it. I love it. The other one was Monster Hearts for exactly the same reason. And if you're listening to Monster Hearts right now, I'm like, oh man, this is awesome. But they're missing a player anyway in it because he fell asleep.
That's our quality production. Any other questions, please?
Yo.
Just general RPG question.
Yeah, we can do that too.
And one slightly unrelated question.
Okay.
Are any of you familiar with the Cyberpunk games, either 2020
2020?
or 2030?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And are
I'm not.
of those who
Is
are.
this Shadowrun count?
No, it's specifically from
it's got no
Cyberpunk
side
2020.
quest.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty much Shadowrun without any of the magic.
Magic
or the-
stuff.
Yeah.
So it is much more clear.
And Derek, you are familiar with it. Are you at all looking forward to the Cyberpunk 2070 game?
I actually, you know what?
That's being
I
marketed
haven't
by
been.
CD Projekt
I
Red.
haven't been keeping up with it. Fuck it. I don't need a microphone at this point.
Okay.
Since the original softbacked Cyberpunk 2020 that came out maybe almost 20 years ago. That was probably. I only have the core book for it. I've actually played games of Cyberpunk 2020, and they were a lot of fun. But I actually remember when I was maybe 9 or 10 years old, coming across it in like a board game store, and all I remember was the chart where you could randomly determine what your character's favorite style of dress was, and if you roll a 20, your character just goes around nude because fuck it.
Yeah, you never would have guessed this was these systems were developed by a bunch of guys.
No.
Really?
Pardon?
It gets worse.
Oh, I know it gets worse.
What happens if you roll a 1? Do you just wear like 7 suits at a time?
Something like that, yeah.
I think it's like bike leathers or something.
Yeah, I can't remember the charts at this point,
It
but
just goes from like naked to assless chaps.
there's something.
There's no like sweater and jeans in there.
No, it's not. There are about 20 pages where you can literally randomly generate every aspect of your character. If you want to. It's optional.
Other questions?
Come on, people.
Seriously.
If you don't raise your hands, we're just going to keep talking. Scott.
I have one.
Okie dokie.
Okay.
Would you like to know how much Mike doesn't like the mustache?
Shut up, Scott. Shut. Okay, I'll explain this.
I spent so much time brushing in.
I run a Wednesday night session with my friends, and it's usually where I get a lot of the practice I do for the podcast. And Scott is one of my players, and we're running Kingmaker, which is a Pathfinder adventure module. It's about 6 bits long, they all are. And they all know that at some point in Kingmaker, you go from being adventurers to being guys who run cities and create these. You create your own kingdom eventually, that's the term. During the first module, they all kind of look at each other, they look at me as I'm GMing them, and they're like, Mike, yeah, can we call our kingdom Hampton Frumpenshire? Like, no. Okay, second question. Because we can put the kingdom in any shape we want on the map, right? Yeah, can we make it a mustache? And I just looked at them, and I said, shut up, shut up, shut up. For good 3 months, shut up, Connell. For good 3 months of my life, after that up until I think January, when I asked my friends to stop, people were coming up to me at like Con Bravo, at Anime North, asking, shut up, Connell, can my horse have a mustache? I would give them this withering look, just like, must you? Must you be these kind of people?
How about the 1404 show too?
I forget nothing, I'm repressing. So there.
Let it out, Mike, otherwise you'll imagine it as Eldritch Abominations.
No, I won't.
It's always Eldritch Abominations with you.
You see? We're not making fun of him unjustly! Go on, more questions. Seriously, if you have RPG questions or like logistical questions or anything, go. All right, Scott again.
Okay. This one's an RPG question.
I would hope so.
Don't make me say it.
Okay, go ahead. All right,
Do it.
Stop milking it.
Serious question. How would you deal with a problem player?
What kind of problem are you talking about? Like, are you talking about rules lawyer, or are you talking about what?
Well, rules lawyer's not so bad. You can at least work around that. What if you have a player who just wants to take over the game?
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
You guys answer that one. I'm saying something.
All right. Having actually run a LARP of like 30 people before, it was largely a matter of figuring out what the problem with that player was. And sometimes it's a matter of telling them, you know what, dude? You're being a problem. That you can try correcting the behavior, but sometimes it's best just to say, look, this behavior is a problem. And you know what? In my very early days of LARPing, I actually had a more experienced player take me to the side and rake me over the coals for problem behaviors of mine. And it was a good wake-up call, actually, because I never went back to them again. But sometimes people are problem players and they don't realize it. And you can try and avoid it all you want, or you can just bring it to their attention. And it may hurt, but sometimes it's for the best.
Anyone else?
How would you go about like being a good GM if you've never done it before?
Oh, I got that one.
Okay.
The best advice, because I learned this one the hard way, the most common mistakes GMs make, because I made them all, were one, GMs I found, GMs are kind of inclined to put their own NPCs into the adventure to help out in the side round. Don't. Do not do it. Your NPCs should not, it's honestly, if you look at a textbook on RPG, like video game design, look at like how Skyrim does it. That would really be the best recommendation I can give. The other thing is, give your players, some people like to do the open-ended kind of thing. I don't, personally, because I think because my friends are like a bunch of cats, they'll just run to the four winds, like a bunch of incoherent monkeys. And always give them a place that they're going. If they have a fixed point that they can get their attention on, it's not hard. As long as it's interesting, it doesn't even have to be like they have a real reason to be there. As long as it's something they can point at and say that's what we're going after, they'll go for it. And the other thing is, always let them try.
Yep.
Even if it's impossible.
Yep.
Because if you tell them no, it's not going to work. There's certain situations where it's like, no, it's not going to work. Like, if you're running some kind of very human level thing and a guy says, I want to hit playing with a baseball bat, you can make fun of him for that. That's come up. Not in our podcast with me. But if it's something like, for example, Pendragon, if you guys had shown up and you'd found the sword in the stone, and you all would have wanted to say, like, I want to pull the sword from the stone.
I'm trying.
Yeah, I would let you guys try. You're not going to, because you're not King Arthur, but you still give them that chance to fail. And you also learn who the good player, you kind of learn who the good and problem players are, because good players will be like, I tried and I'll move on. Problem players will keep trying. They'll keep trying to derail or throw things off. And at certain points, you'll see groups just kind of, it's kind of sad because the good groups kind of develop a hive mind. That's because they work together as a team and they know what each is good at. And it's sometimes really hard to get someone in on that. So just, the best thing to do is to kind of nurture the idea that everyone has a role in the group.
Yeah.
And as long as you do that, and let them try, let them fail. By God, let them fail. And you will have a good team. But remember, they're the most important thing there.
Yeah.
Don't ever let them think, don't ever run, sorry, this last thing I promise I'll stop. Don't ever run a game where they're not their decisions do not matter. Yes. Even if they turn it on their head and their decisions lead to horrible problems. And I've done that.
Cool.
Always make it so that what they did mattered in the outcome.
Get your players to define their roles in the group. Get them to define their shticks, because nothing can be more of a problem than when people are stepping on each other's toes, because everyone wants a piece of a certain kind of action. And it's important to remember that when you're playing a role-playing game, you are playing to a certain extent cooperative improvisational theater. And actually, before the Spirit of the Century game, Big Mike ran us through a bunch of improv exercises. And I found that they really helped how we were playing. It really helped us mesh as a group. And as a GM, it was one of the best things that he could have done. Was make sure we had a shtick, make sure we knew what our characters were good at and what our role on the team was. But because, not just so that we know what we could do, but when we should step back and let someone else do it.
Yeah. Well, sorry.
Okay, well, I would say for one thing, try to avoid leading people by the nose. You want to kind of guide them towards a goal and not push them towards it. And I guess this is kind of just building on what Big Mike said. I actually have a very good specific example. I played in a game once where the GM gave us pretty much no freedom at all.
Yeah.
Basically, the game started with us waking up inside of like a maze. And we'd all been abducted and taken there. And you know, we're like playing some sick psychopathical game to see who survives and gets out and whatnot.
Yeah.
And he very quickly pointed out that all the walls were not only perfectly smooth, but slick, so that we can't climb them, and we can't do this and this and that and that. And it's like, so our only choice was to go through exactly the route that the GM had laid out for us. And like, I picked out all these skills that my character is good at. He couldn't do any of them. So
10 minutes left.
Yeah, we know.
So finally, I kind of rebelled a little bit, and it was pretty sweet. Like, my character was just a fighter. He only had like one good skill, and it was jump. And we came to this one area where there's like a quiver of arrows, and there was a target at the other end of the hall, and there was like a giant 30-foot pit between me and the target. And obviously, we were meant to shoot at the target. And like my character was a really good archer, but I'm like, I don't want to play this game. So I said, okay, the gap is 30 feet. I have this on my jump. If I get a 2-foot running start, according to the rules, if I roll this much, I can jump the 30 feet. He's like, okay, and okay, I'm rolling. Just barely made it, jumped across the pit. He said, okay, now what? I said, I pull an arrow out of my quiver and stick it into the target with my hand. Every one of the other players burst into laughter. He was upset.
Yeah.
Well, I think that clever out of the box thinking like that should definitely be rewarded with players.
Yeah.
From
There's
my
some GMs
experience,
that don't reward it though. They get pissed off so bad.
well, that's the thing. It's like if they think of something interesting, I always let my players go with it. Even if they're doing something stupid, like I go in the boot closet and I try to fight someone with a mop. I'm like, all right, you do that. You're not gonna be real good at it, but go nuts. I mean, Mike actually addressed a lot of really important things. Never have a pet NPC on the team with the players, because this is a game that the players are playing. You are not playing this game. You are running it.
Yeah.
Like no one's there for you. So just try to get past that, because I've been in a couple of games where the DM had more than one pet NPC on the team, and it eventually became about like how anytime one of the players tried to do something interesting, he's like, "No, you fail." But one of my NPCs steps in and totally boss does it, and it's wicked awesome. And I'm like, okay, so this has become like us sitting around watching you like tell cool imaginary stories, and none of us get to do anything. So I'm bored now. But when I was running a game, one of the other things I learned is the devil's in the details. You need to describe the room that people are in. You need to describe everything that is important if people are observing it. For example, again, I was running a little thing, and going through the woods. It's like, okay, you're going through the woods, you come across a dead deer, and I'm like, okay, so I'm playing a character that knows how to check this stuff. I'm like, all right, so I from a distance, I have a look at it. I check this deer. How did it die? And he's like, oh, well, it choked. I go, how? And he just kind of looks at me, he smiles and goes, I don't know. And he gives me this like, look, and I'm like, yeah, you fucking do. Tell me. Because if it choked eating something, and if it got choked by something on the outside, that's a completely different bag of worms. So it matters. The details matter. You need to be specific with that kind of stuff. So like, and also you could really embellish in that kind of thing. So if like your adventurers that you're running through on a mod decide that they step into some kind of cavern and it's super hot and muggy, describe that. Like the air is thick and it's muggy and you are seared by the heat of this cavern, etc., etc. Like get into it, but be sure that you're specific with all of the little details. Here's Laura.
Sorry. Do you ever, take the time when you're running a game to craft props or that sort of thing to, hand over a map and let them figure it out?
Nope.
I know some people do that. Some people do that.
The one time I've ever, I'm gonna answer this one real quick because we gotta.
Go.
The only time I've ever done that when it was first something called the Carnival of Tears, it was to give them a carnival map. But underneath that, I put over whiteout over certain parts that were actually enemy encounters, so that the players peel it off and there was like laughter underneath. But normally though, it just takes a lot of time because I find sometimes if I craft something, the players may never even get to it. So, saying that.
Well,
Tom. Sorry, Tom.
Yeah, so because we're like running out of time. That's the only thing.
Okay. Is it okay if I go and get water?
What?
Is it okay if I go and get water?
I don't know. Can we go on longer?
If you
No, I want to go and get water.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to get water? Oh, yeah, sure.
Thirsty.
Yeah, you can run a little longer, but try to wrap up by 10 after.
Okay. If Connell wants to get water, we'll just save this for when he gets back.
Sure. No, you guys go ahead. Let me grab water.
I've
got something.
Okay.
Oh, wait a sec. I might be able to get you a bottle for the next room.
Good try, though.
I'm actually having 3 things done up for the upcoming Power Rangers Night Watch game. One of them is Featherweight's doing a bunch of art for it. He's doing all the Ranger suits, so that we'll have a very solid reference of what the characters look like. The Morphers, because I want people to know what their Morpher looks like to the Power Rangers, and the main villain, because as much as the thing about doing Terrible Warriors especially is that because we're also playing for the audience, anything that we draw is never going to be seen by the audience.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yes, you don't want to make props for a thing like Terrible Warriors, no. But
maybe
except for Mike's Mix.
Maybe props was the wrong word, but I just.
Yeah, no, I know, like physical objects.
Yeah, we know what you mean. It's just
like make stuff for your players. Sorry, it was an interesting point that Mike brought up, that it's like you don't know if your players are going to get to that. And when my brother was running a game, he ran into a thing.
Sorry. I've only really won one game for a bunch of like grade 6 beginners, and I knew that they were going into, just when you describe that whole thing, I always tried to have like a good description for them, and they were going into Mists of Madness, first level module, and I decided to write their hallucinations on slips of paper.
Oh, like that
kind of thing.
Oh yeah, that's
what I had a couple I had an NPC player, and I had this annoying little bell that they had to deal with, and whatever sort of, there was the kid, first time he was playing a half orc, he just got so excited, like to say try and fail.
Yeah.
It's like he set off every damn monster trap in the first room because the thief was too timid to do anything, and he was running around sticking his nose everywhere. He set off every damn trap. It was hilarious. But,
I like doing that, but I'm really lazy, so I don't always get it done. It's mostly just plot, and I'll just be like, let's both throw something else in. So, should we get to the episode?
Yes.
Okay. They're salivating. These 3 are salivating. You guys are like, how good could it be?
It's so good.
I don't know how this works.
Uh,
I have no idea how this works. Oh, for God's sakes, phone.
You didn't actually press play, did you?
Yeah, I did. It's playing. No, it's not.
No, it's not.
It stops when you unplug headphones.
Oh God, it was silent.
Is it now plugging in?
No, it's not turned up.
I am turning it up. I have no idea.
No, it's
It's really so professional. Oh God, that is pathetic. What the hell? Does anyone know how to work an amp?
Yeah, here. Well, let me.
Good. Sorry, guys.
Is it plugged in?
Yeah, it's plugged in. It's plugged into the audio cable now, which I assume is that. But...
Oh, that's why it's set down to 0. Well, we go back. Try it.
Silly enough to flatten us. But I'm done talking that voice. So, welcome back to the Warriors of Terrible. I am, of course, Big Mike. I am GMing again, and I have not had a lot of sleep, so I'm demented as all hell. And starting on my left.
I'm Tom, he is the evil genius way.
I'm Colin Macbeth, better known as Dr. Holocaust.
I am Cassie Singing Rain Chu. For reasons that it's only me who can understand. That's it. That's it. No one else is going to understand what. Maybe Mike.
And I'm Derek Bard from Chasing the News.
And tonight, as I said in my over-the-top, attempting a 1920s intro from the Radio Beyond Fast play Spirit of the Century, developed by Evil Hat Productions. This book is at all accurate.
It's accurate.
Good. That's nice to hear.
Sorry for the audio pause, the unedited.
Our 4 heroes tonight are played Centurions, which are people who are magically born on the first day of the year 1901. As thus are all the same age, so sexy times are not awkward.
What?
Celestial alignment is reconfigured by libido.
So, would you guys like to introduce your characters for this radio drama?
Okay, I'm playing Dr. Odysseus Claymore, otherwise known as Dr. Murder Punch. It's a nickname given to me by my colleagues from this one exchange, if you will, where I killed an alligator with my bare hands. It's kind of it's something that I don't like to talk about often. I'll let
It's a big deal. It's not a big deal. Kill an alligator.
Oh, your character.
I thought there was more to the alligator.
I'm done.
Today I'll be playing a character named Dr. Florigen Nitrosite. Mad scientist.
This is me. This is me turn. This is my okay.
Hi, Cassie.
Hi. I will be playing Lena Lockwood. She is a character.
Well?
She is a well-to-do, well-traveled woman. We've seen many things and going on adventures with these crazy jerks. What are you doing,
Colonel Smarties didn't exist in 1923.
Stop eating them.
Sorry, for those folks at home, I'm torturing Tom by eating my red Smarties first. Some men just want to watch the world burn. His nose is I like to hurt you little veins in my head. Oh, no, I can tell that. During the bar, I'm currently wearing a fedora. And I am playing Dexter Lancelot Lovelace, two-fisted man of mystery. Not a mystery man,
Oh my
and
goodness.
I am basically an action-packed version of Howard Phillips Lovecraft, who doesn't exist in this world because I am he!
So, we're last week left off because that is the spirit of Pulp Adventures. You guys have recovered the mythical Eye of Set, which is just a very, very cool jewel from a bunch of mobsters in New York, let's say. You're on the boat back to London to drop it off at the Centurion headquarters, which is, of course, a large fraternity, such as there was back in the 1920s, which don't exist now because money doesn't run around like that like it used to. You are on a boat, and it is a nice, amicable day.
Oh, that's nice. By the hallowed seals of the dread Caliphate Momo! I can't believe we actually got the Eye of Set out of there alive! Us alive, I mean, not the Eye of Set. The Eye of Set is obviously an inanimate jewel. Although, the ancient legends do say...
There's a lot of this. Yes, there is. So much.
Those words.
Dr. Nitrosite's just staring at him like, yeah. Okay, alright. I don't make any sudden movements, you won't get me. My readers will certainly enjoy hearing about our adventures in the next issue of Weird Tales. Oh yeah, that's the thing. There have been like books written about our characters.
Yeah.
Very much like the Sherlock Holmes books for 2007 or something. Are our characters aware of those books? Do they exist in this universe?
They can if you want.
You're aware of some of them because I wrote them. If I crossed over with you, assume that it has showed up as a serialized novel somewhere.
Very well. Let's just cross over with all of you at some point, so.
That's fair. I'm going to say my books don't exist.
Okay. So, as you guys are enjoying the sunset and the usual awkward tension that arises when you all try to socialize with each other, but realize you're all whacked out of your mind, a group of 4 ninjas suddenly attacks you.
Because we're not talking. Just ninjas. They just suddenly appear out of nowhere.
Yes, they do.
So what's wrong?
No, just are bare-fisted.
The moment the ninjas...
Hang on.
Okay.
We have a declaration to make before we start.
Okay.
We are ninjas in the clan Horusei. Cassie, would you please kindly do an awareness roll of some kind? Some kind of empathy or emotional analysis roll.
Okay. I'm actually very unfamiliar with this role stuff.
What is the best aspect? What is the best skill you've got?
You have alertness +3 right there.
It's the top one.
Or you have empathy +5.
Right, yes.
Please roll empathy, please, and add +5 to your roll.
Okay. So the numerical value has to do with how many pluses?
Yeah.
Okay.
Minuses take away.
Right.
Zeros do nothing. So
So let's
that's
see. Okay.
So you got that.
Sorry. 2.
So you got 2 minuses and 2 pluses.
So you got +5.
5.
It's fine. You realize something quite immediately. There's something very odd about these gentlemen, and they don't actually sound Japanese.
Are they like full ninjas?
Yeah. So they make a declaration. We are ninjas from the clan Hakanaka. Right. All of you that might have been made up very quickly. We are here to get revenge on our liege lord Don Fulio. Let's just say it's not that important. For stealing the eye of Set from him.
None of this sounds Japanese. And one of you has a mustache. No damnable Oriental shall recover the eye set from us! I warned you! I'm not going to play that out much, but you walked into that one.
Jumping down, and instead of pulling swords or knives or anything, they just put up their fists, and Derek's character just smiles like they're playing a game.
Hey, Mike, I'm going to use my quick draw stunt.
What? Your hands?
No! My 45s!
Draw my hands.
Skills in hand combat and pulling.
Are they in an attack pose?
You could call it that.
Okay.
A high school student would much more optimistically call it a bad reenactment.
We're being attacked by surfers!
I would be able to tell experience.
We are being attacked by hilarious weed larpers.
They're staring down the barrels of D.L. Lovelace's very, very deadly looking Colt 45s.
We immediately begin whispering among each other. You start to realize this is an Italian accent that's going through the microphone. It occurs to you this might be mob members that are trying to intimidate the shit out of you.
What?
Okay, I would like to grapple one of them. It just occurred to me that we haven't described our characters yet.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Eichenstein wears basically a very smart suit underneath a very large white lab coat. And I have an Omni tool, which, as hard light has not been invented, we are going to say that this is a pair of very bulky techno bracers that he has on his
Where's the bracers?
yeah. And
We made fun of him for that for a little while.
if I may, at this juncture, activate a short-range taser function. Basically, like two prongs just kind of pop out on each of them, and like electricity starts.
I would like to take the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu take effect here and grab one of them. Okay, well
What do you look like?
I'm very tall with a strong chin. I'm a traveling academic of sorts. I am a master of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which I had learned from a guide of mine when I was in my various travels in South America.
I'm not going to stop you, Tom, but other people are going to have to.
Stop monologuing and grapple them already!
So I wish to grapple one of them.
Okay, so you're
I wish to face palm very clearly.
I think that would be amazing to take ourselves. Shall I go? D.L. Lovelace more or less looks like a slightly more, considerably more athletic Howard Lovecraft. He's wearing a not very good suit, but he wears it with almost military precision. And I'm basically just going to stare down the barrel of the gun at the guy who looks like at the guy who's doing the talking, as if daring him to actually do something else. And if he moves, I'll just fire a warning shot, possibly into his leg.
$5 as done from his changes.
Alright, so Tom, you play combat first, so we'll make your attack roll. Okay. I kind of want to see what you do.
Well, that's -1.
Yeah,
but
I'm bored.
Sorry guys, I accidentally skipped ahead.
You're about out of time anyways.
Yeah. But that's
Yeah, well, because there's a part where Derek shoots one of them in the leg and goes, "Ah, my leg, Aru."
that started a running gag for the entirety of the game.
And they are very much a footnote in the madness that happens in that campaign.
I think my
My
favorite
leg,
remark was
Desu.
Cassie's. Oh, my leg, Des.
Yeah, because we started calling him the "Say Aru again, motherfucker! Say Aru again!"
So, thank you for coming to our panel.
Yay!
And thank you for sticking around for it. Please, by all means, listen to our episode Thank you for the weak claps.
Yeah.
But it's all very late. It's 1 a.m. Thank you very much, all of you, for attending. Please go get some sleep and have a good night.
And come watch our show at TerribleWarriors.com. Find us on iTunes and SoundCloud.